There is something about the silence between you and this person that does not feel normal. You may have tried to convince yourself that maybe they're just busy, maybe they are distracted, maybe they simply moved on. But deep inside, your intuition keeps whispering that there is something more happening here. Their silence feels heavy, almost like it carries words that were never spoken. It feels unfinished, unresolved, like a conversation that paused right before something important was about to be revealed. And that is exactly the energy surrounding this reading today. Before we go any further, remember that this is a general message, so only take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. But if you were guided to this reading, if you felt drawn to these words while thinking about someone who has suddenly become silent with you, there is a strong possibility that this message is meant to reach you at the right moment. Because the truth is, silence is rarely empty. When someone completely disappears into silence, it often means something deeper is happening beneath the surface. People go quiet for many reasons, but sometimes that quiet space is filled with thoughts they cannot yet speak, emotions they are still trying to understand, or truths they are not ready to reveal. And the energy around this situation suggests that the person who has been silent with you is carrying something inside them that they have not shared. You may have been asking yourself many questions lately. Why did they suddenly stop talking? Why does it feel like they are holding something back? Why does their silence feel so different from ordinary distance? Your mind may have replayed past conversations again and again, searching for clues, wondering if there was something you missed. And the more you think about it, the more you start to feel that their silence is not just avoidance. It feels intentional, almost like they are hiding something behind it. What is interesting here is that when someone goes silent in this kind of energy, it does not always mean they stop thinking about you. In fact, sometimes the opposite is true. Silence can appear when someone is thinking too much, feeling too much, or realizing something they were not ready to face before. And instead of speaking immediately, they retreat into quiet reflection. This reading carries the feeling that the silence you are experiencing may actually be connected to a secret that this person has been holding, something that has been on their mind, something they may have wanted to say but could not find the right moment or the right courage to reveal. And sometimes when a person carries something like that inside, silence becomes their way of protecting themselves until they understand their own emotions more clearly. What makes this situation even more mysterious is that the energy around it feels very active, even though there are no words being exchanged. Just because someone is quiet does not mean they are absent. Their mind may still be wandering back to memories you shared. Their emotions may still be reacting to the connection you once had. And deep down, there may be something they wish they had said differently or something they wish they had confessed sooner. So today, we are going to look deeper into this energy. We are going to explore what may truly be happening behind the silent treatment you have been experiencing. Because sometimes silence is not the end of a story. Sometimes it is simply the moment before a hidden truth finally comes to the surface. As we begin to look deeper into the energy surrounding this silence, the first card that reveals itself is the High Priestess. The moment this card appears, the atmosphere of the reading changes. The High Priestess is the guardian of hidden knowledge, the keeper of quiet truths, the one who sees what others try to hide. When this card shows up in a situation involving silence, it immediately tells us that something important has been left unsaid. The quiet between you and this person is not empty. It is layered with thoughts, emotions, and secrets that have not yet been spoken out loud. The High Priestess represents a person who holds information inside themselves, sometimes for a long time. They observe more than they reveal. They feel more than they express. This card suggests that the person who has been silent with you may be carrying a truth they have not yet found the courage to share. They might be afraid of what will happen if they finally say what has been sitting in their heart or mind. What is interesting here is that the High Priestess energy often appears when someone is watching quietly from a distance. They may not be speaking, but they are still aware of you. They may still check in on you in subtle ways, thinking about you during quiet moments, remembering conversations you shared, replaying memories in their mind. Their silence may look like distance, but their thoughts may still circle back to you more often than you realize. This card also speaks about intuition, and many of you listening to this reading may have already felt that something about this silence is different. You may have sensed that there is more behind it than what appears on the surface. Sometimes your intuition feels a hidden emotional current before any words are spoken. The High Priestess confirms that the energy around this silence carries something secretive and emotionally significant. Moving deeper into the reading, the second card that appears is the Eight of Swords. This card shifts the focus toward the mental world of the person who has gone silent. The Eight of Swords represents someone who feels trapped in their own thoughts. It is the energy of overthinking, of replaying situations again and again, of feeling mentally restricted by fear, doubt, and uncertainty. This person may want to communicate with you, but something in their mind keeps stopping them. They may question whether it is the right time. They may worry about how their words will be received. They may even fear that opening up emotionally will make them vulnerable in ways they are not prepared for. The Eight of Swords often appears when someone feels caught between their heart and their fears. Their heart may be telling them to reach out, to speak honestly, to reveal something they have been holding back, but their fears create invisible walls around them. Instead of moving forward, they remain stuck in silence. When someone is in this kind of mental energy, their thoughts can become repetitive and exhausting. They replay past conversations, wondering if they said the wrong thing. They question whether they misunderstood something. They imagine different scenarios about how a future conversation could unfold. And all of this thinking can keep them frozen in place. The silence you are experiencing may not come from a lack of feeling. It may come from someone who feels overwhelmed by their own thoughts and does not know how to express what is happening inside them. Now the third card appears, and it is the Moon. This card brings even deeper emotional complexity to the situation. The Moon is associated with confusion, emotional uncertainty, and feelings that are difficult to understand clearly. When the Moon appears in a reading about silence, it often means that emotions are present, but they are clouded by doubt and uncertainty. This person may not fully understand their own feelings yet. Something about your connection may have awakened emotions they did not expect to feel. Instead of confronting those emotions directly, they may have chosen to step back into silence to process what is happening within them. The Moon also carries an element of vulnerability. When people feel emotionally exposed, they sometimes retreat. Silence becomes a shield that protects them while they sort through their feelings privately. This person may fear that revealing what they feel could change everything between you. There is also an element of imagination and emotional depth with the Moon. They may find themselves thinking about you during quiet moments, wondering about the connection you shared, remembering how certain conversations felt. The Moon often brings late-night thoughts, the kind that appear when everything else is quiet and the mind begins to wander. They may be questioning themselves. They may be asking whether they misunderstood the connection. They may be wondering if you still think about them too. But instead of asking these questions directly, they remain silent, observing their emotions from a distance. The fourth card appearing in this reading is the King of Cups. This card reveals something important about the emotional nature of this person. The King of Cups represents someone who feels deeply, but does not always express those feelings openly. They are emotionally aware, emotionally sensitive, but also emotionally guarded. This person may care about you more than they ever showed. The King of Cups energy suggests someone who experiences deep emotional currents, but keeps those emotions carefully controlled. They may not be the type of person who easily speaks about their feelings, even when those feelings are strong. Sometimes people with this energy believe that showing emotion makes them vulnerable. So instead of expressing everything they feel, they maintain a calm and composed exterior. But beneath that calm surface, there can be powerful emotions moving quietly. This person may remember details about you that they never mentioned. They may recall moments you shared together and realize that those moments meant more to them than they initially admitted. The King of Cups often reflects someone who processes emotions privately rather than publicly. Their silence may come from the fact that they are trying to understand their own emotional depth before revealing it. They may want to say something meaningful, something honest, something that truly reflects what they feel. But finding the right moment and the right words can take time. The fifth card that appears is the Page of Cups. And this is where the emotional energy begins to shift towards something more hopeful. The Page of Cups carries the energy of emotional messages, heartfelt communication, and unexpected expressions of feeling. This card often appears when someone is thinking about reaching out. The Page of Cups is the energy of someone who wants to express something sincere, something emotional, something that comes directly from the heart, but they may still be gathering the courage to do it. This card also represents vulnerability. Opening up emotionally can feel risky. It requires someone to step out of their protective silence and reveal what they truly feel. The Page of Cups suggests that this person may be thinking about doing exactly that. They may imagine sending a message. They may think about what they would say if they had the chance to speak honestly. They may even rehearse conversations in their mind, trying to find the right words that would explain everything they have been holding back. Sometimes the Page of Cups brings surprising communication. It can represent a message that arrives when you least expect it. A moment where someone finally decides that silence has lasted long enough and it is time to speak. And finally, the sixth card appearing in this reading is the Four of Swords. This card represents rest, reflection, and emotional retreat. The Four of Swords often appears when someone has stepped back from communication in order to think deeply about a situation. This card suggests that the silence you have been experiencing may actually be a period of internal reflection for this person. They may be trying to understand what they truly feel before making any move. Instead of reacting impulsively, they have chosen to withdraw into a quiet space where they can think clearly. The Four of Swords is not the energy of someone who has completely closed the door. It is the energy of someone who is pausing, reflecting, and allowing their thoughts to settle. They may be considering what they should say if they speak again. They may be thinking about how the connection affected them more than they expected. Sometimes people enter this kind of quiet reflection when they realize that something meaningful happened between them and another person. Instead of ignoring it, they retreat inward to process the emotional weight of the situation. When we look at all six of these energies together, a deeper story begins to unfold. The High Priestess shows that there is a secret or hidden truth involved. The Eight of Swords reveals mental conflict and overthinking. The Moon brings emotional confusion and vulnerability. The King of Cups shows deep feelings that have not been openly expressed. The Page of Cups suggests the possibility of heartfelt communication. And the Four of Swords shows a period of quiet reflection. Taken together, these cards suggest that the silence between you and this person may not be what it first appeared to be. It may not be indifference or rejection. Instead, it may be the quiet space where someone is wrestling with emotions they are not yet ready to reveal. Sometimes silence happens because someone feels too much rather than too little. When emotions become complicated, people often retreat inward while they try to understand their own hearts. And in this situation, the energy strongly suggests that there is something this person has been keeping to themselves. Something emotional, something meaningful, something they may eventually feel compelled to share. Because when feelings remain hidden for too long, silence itself begins to carry the weight of those unspoken words. As we come to the end of this reading, the most important thing to understand is that silence does not always mean the story is over. Sometimes silence is simply the space where emotions are being processed behind the scenes. It can feel confusing, even painful, when someone you once shared a connection with suddenly becomes quiet. Your mind starts searching for answers. You wonder what changed, what went wrong, or whether they ever cared at all. But the energy that has come through this reading suggests that there is much more happening beneath the surface than what has been visible. The silence surrounding this person appears to carry weight. It carries thoughts that have not been spoken, emotions that have not been fully revealed, and perhaps even realizations they were not prepared to face when everything first unfolded. Sometimes people need distance in order to understand their own hearts. Sometimes stepping back is the only way they know how to process feelings that suddenly became deeper than they expected. What stands out strongly in this reading is that the silence is not empty. It feels reflective, thoughtful, and emotionally charged. This person may be spending more time thinking about the connection than you realize. Even though no words are being exchanged right now, the emotional energy between you has not simply disappeared. It has shifted into a quieter space where thoughts and feelings are being examined privately. You may have felt moments where your intuition tried to tell you that something about this situation was unfinished, that there were words left unsaid or emotions that never had the chance to be expressed fully. When connections carry that kind of energy, silence often becomes the pause between chapters rather than the final page of the story. But at the same time, this reading also encourages you to focus on your own emotional peace. You cannot control another person's timing, their fears, or the way they choose to process their emotions. What you can control is how you protect your own energy, how you continue moving forward in your own life, and how you honor your own worth regardless of someone else's silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is allow life to unfold naturally without forcing answers. When something is meant to be revealed, it eventually finds its way into the light. Secrets rarely stay hidden forever, especially when emotions are involved. If this person has been holding something inside, if there truly is a truth they have not yet spoken, time has a way of bringing those hidden feelings closer to the surface. Silence may delay words, but it cannot erase emotions that have already taken root in the heart. So for now, allow yourself to release the weight of trying to understand everything immediately. Trust that what is meant to be revealed will eventually reveal itself. Sometimes the most unexpected conversations happen after the longest silences. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt that deep intuitive feeling while listening to this reading, then perhaps your spirit already understands something your mind is still trying to figure out. Remember to only take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. Your path, your timing, and your experiences are unique to you. The answers you seek will always arrive when the moment is right.